appropriate pulpitis. So we have different classification: endo, perio lesion, perio-endo lesion, and combined lesion. How will you diagnose? That's what, like when patient comes to you, you look at them only into the caries. Caries closer than a soft caries, soft tissues, right? You will do RCT, crown, centroid. Correct, no? That's why you are supposed to look into the, like, any pocket is there, any periapical lesion, periodontal lesion is there, you are supposed to cross check that. Swelling will be there in both the cases. Even mobility will be more in periodontal inflammation compared to the endo lesions. So sometimes what will happen, only endodontic is there, then you may get pulp test positive or negative. In periodontal inflammation, until unless it is involved endodontically, you will get positive only. Can anyone tell me which infection is this? Endo or perio? What is this? Data pressure tracing, right? Perio. All agree with the perio? Why? Gutta-percha, where is it going? Why you do gutta-percha tracing? Correct. So by that you come to know whether it is like periodontally infection is there or endo infection is there, and it gives you the direction from where the infection is spreading. Can you guys see here? It's going towards the lateral. Periodontal axis is also called as lateral axis or parietal axis, correct? See here. In this, actually it's involved both. Okay? It's a combined lesion. If primary endodontic lesion is there, means you can see acute pulpal involvement and first draining through the period or sulcus. Okay, radiographically no crestal bone loss will be there. This you should keep in your mind. No crestal bone loss. If it is purely endo lesion, okay. If it is purely perio lesion, then you can see the crestal bone loss and spread through the apical foramen or accessory canals if you doesn't treat endodontic. Okay, then the periodontal inflammation will start. In such cases, you are supposed to do it only endodontic therapy. No periodontal therapy is required. If you leave it for longer time, patient doesn't come to you initially only, then what will happen? The inflammation will spread from throat to the periodontal ligament. When you doesn't treat it, this will happen. Untreated perio-endo lesions. The same thing, if you doesn't treat only periodontal lesion, patients come to you with a periodontal pocket, okay? It may extend to the lateral canal or accessory canals. Also, pulpal changes usually reparative in nature and no necrosis will be seen initially. Okay, pulp also will be vital. If it doesn't treat periodontally, then it may end up with perio-endo lesion. Here you can see non-vital tooth. What is the treatment modality for this? Root canal. Then what is true combined lesion? Both are there individually. Caries is also present, periodontal pocket is also present. So at certain point of time, what will happen? They both will merge. Okay. Coming to the management part, always endodontic treatment should be done first. Okay, whether endo perio, perio endo or combined, endodontic treatment has to be done first. Then only you are supposed to do periodontal treatment. Wait, after doing first you are supposed to do scaling, root planing, then endodontic treatment. Then
Ma'am, sorry. 1 ನಿಮಿಷ.
तुम लोगों को कैसे सेम है बस होता है ये तेरा है क्या देखो
ಎನಿ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರು
ಎನಿ
ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿನ
ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅವನ ಸರ್ಜಿಕಲ್ ಇದೇ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೋನ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅಂದೆ ಸರ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬರೀ ಕ್ಯೂರೇಟಿವ್
ನಾನ್ ಸರ್ಜಿಕಲ್ ಥೆರಪಿ ಆಗಿತ್ತು 1 ಇಯರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ
ಸರಿ ಸರ್
ಈ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಅವ್ನ ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ
ಸರಿ ಸರ್
After root canal therapy, you are supposed to wait for 3 to 4 months for healing. Then again, you are supposed to recall the patient, review for the residual pocket, whether pocket is there or not. If pocket is still present, then you are supposed to take periodontal flap therapies. Usually, endo lesions heals faster and compared to the periodontic lesions. This is which lesion? Combined. First started with perio. How can you guys tell it's perio? Where is it bone loss? But can you guys see the crustal bone? It's nice, no? No. Population involvement. Why? Because see, apically it's going like this. Both the side. Here it is fine, correct? Usually periodontitis starts from corona towards the apical. Here all the crustal bone is fine. You can see infection is due to this. Maybe they have done crop cutting directly and they have given without doing RCT over a period of time. What happened? Endo lesion has started. From there it's gone towards the population area. Okay, so that's the reason I told you are supposed to check for the crustal bone to see whether it is endo lesion or perio lesion. Treatment plan is same only for any lesions. Okay. See this. After root canal treatment. This. Here you guys can see the crustal bone loss. Initially, it is in the initial stage. See this? It's becoming vertical. And here also in Caucasian area slight you can see. But bulk is very good. No periapical changes everything. This is perio. Okay, if you doesn't treat it, then it will end up with perioendo. Endo. This is very easy, no? See, in this also you can make out that crustal bone. So if it's like endodontic lesion, population involvement is there. So that time, yesterday I showed you like one video, no? So after doing endodontic treatment, you are supposed to plan for grafting procedure. Okay, open a flap and like put a grafting materials in the population area. For that, you are supposed to know which like degree population is involved. Whether it is a grade 1, grade 2. If you know the grades only, then only you can plan properly. Mostly you will get endo and perio lesions, that to population involved cases. What are the surgical procedures you guys know? Sorry? So, curettage is also minor surgical procedure. Then, gingivectomy, gingivoplasty, crown lightening, upper philectomy, crenectomy or crenectomy, vestibular deepening procedures, depigmentation. These are the basic few things what you guys can perform in your clinical practice. Okay? If you are good at diagnosing and good at giving incisions and all, definitely you guys can perform this. What are the goals for surgical procedure? To gain access for the wound preparation when non-surgical methods are ineffective. Okay, so what are the non-surgical methods? Scaling, root planing, lasers, photodynamic therapy, then local drug delivery. These are the basic non-surgical things what we commonly routinely does in clinical setup. Okay. Sometimes what happens if the probing depth is too much, then we won't be able to reduce that by doing non-surgical therapy. In that we are supposed to go ahead with the surgical procedure only to gain access for the preparation when non-surgical therapies are ineffective and to establish favorable gingival contours, that is gingivectomy or gingivoplasty. Okay, and to establish facilitate oral hygiene. Some any gingival recession or any gingival improper contour is there, what will happen? Plaque retention will be there. In such cases also you can go ahead with gingivoplasty procedures and crown lengthening procedures. Commonly we do when we are planned for prosthesis. Okay. You guys know no? What is curettage? What is curettage? Soft tissue lining of the pocket. Okay. Scraping of the gingival wall of the periodontal pocket to separate the diseased soft tissue. Okay, we have different types of curettage. One is gingival curettage and one is subgingival curettage. One is inadvertent curettage. Gingival curettage is nothing but removal of inflamed soft tissue lateral to the pocket wall. But in subgingival, what we do is like we involve the junctional epithelium also. Okay, we'll go till the base of the pocket. Okay, it is a procedure that perform apical to the epithelial attachment, like which will be connecting. No, yesterday I showed you guys, no, junctional epithelium. Here only this. So usually for gingival curettage we will be doing only in this part. Okay, for subgingival curettage we will go till here. We will remove all the junctional epithelium and remove the connective tissue. Okay. So in advented curettage, I was telling you guys, when we do root planing by using universal curettes, unintentionally we will do both. Okay, because it will be having two blades. Both the head will be having blades. So spontaneous removal of pocket lining during scaling and root planing. What are the indications? For the part of like new attachment procedures and to reduce inflammation, okay, and recall visits, and patients will be having aggressive surgical technique which is contraindicated. Okay. This is the technique. You are supposed to place an instrument parallel to the long axis of the tooth with the blade 0 degree to the tooth. Then once you activate it, what is the angle for root planing? Sorry? 60 to 80 for root planing, 90 for curettage. Okay? With a moderate full stroke, you are supposed to remove the pocket wall. What is gingivectomy? What is gingivectomy? You will get so many cases, orthodontic cases. Gingival enlargement after like braces have been placed. Ectomy means removal of gingiva which is covered above the CEJ. Correct? Extra like growth it is. Hyperplasia of the gingiva. It is introduced by Robesic in 1884. Actually, gingivectomy procedure has been like used as a pocket reduction before. Now we are not using that. That means like they used to cut the gingiva and they used to throw that. Pocket eliminated. Before they used to do that, starting in ancient times. Okay, now the concept has been changed. The gingivectomies and gingivoplasties has been used only when there is an enlargement of the gingiva will be there. And gingivoplasty is nothing but recontouring the gingiva that has lost its physiologic outform. How will you do gingivectomies? Yes. Okay. What will you use? There are different techniques. Okay. One is by using scalpel. One is lasers or electrocautery. Then how will, like by scalpel, how will you do? What are the different types of blades? Numbers? Okay. 11 will be used for? Sorry? What incision? 11. Stab incision. Abscess drainage. Then 15 and 15C will be used for ectomies and 12 will be used for circular or clavicular incisions. Okay. Can you guys see here? Okay. This is like, what is this? Markings? Pocket marker. This is a pocket marker, okay? It will be like a tweezer. One beak will be sharp enough. That beak should come from outside. You are supposed to place that pocket marker in the sulcus area. When you reach the base of the pocket, you are supposed to press that. So you will get a bleeding point here. Okay? By that you will come to know how much you are supposed to cut the gingiva. You guys are understanding? I'll show on the model tomorrow. Okay? So this is the pocket marker. This is the base of the pocket. We have marked it for your guidance. From outside you will get a bleeding points. Okay? So that you can cut R outside. By using 50 number blade. Can you see this? What is like incisions you guys know? Only she is interested in it. What are the different types of incisions? अरे यार छोड़ दो यार लेजर से काट के छोड़ दो बस external bevel incisions you guys have heard the name only suggests external that means like the blade will come externally and towards the tooth okay from external surface towards the tooth this is how we give external bevel incision okay in a 45-degree angulation towards the tooth so that the gingiva go and should merge with the tooth surface like this oblique. If you make it horizontally, then what will happen? You will form a table formation. Again, it acts as a plaque retention. Okay. You see? First, you are supposed to mark by using pocket marker. By that, you will come to know how much you are supposed to do the gingivectomy. This is incision. This is a bleeding point. You are supposed to give incisions like this. Okay? To cut this. What are the indications for this? When you do gingivectomy? Yes, pockets before we used to do, but now we are not doing this procedure for pocket procedure. Enlargement cases? On that, actually, if you feel that any like irregular contour is there, then we can put it gingivoplasty.
We can't able to find that original gingival structure. You can, there is no any deposits and all, but we can still notice that gingivitis.
No, like it's okay, like you tell me like what doubt you have. No, it's okay, tell me. In this session, we can't do gingivectomy.
I was telling you clinical science, but we can.
Okay, clinical science. Explain me. It's okay. So in enlargement cases, enlargement cases we can do gingivectomy, right? And where we commonly use crown lengthening procedures. Crown lengthening procedures. Correct? Actually, this is actually flap procedure what they have shown here. Okay? Before we used to do. Actually, when we are doing gingivectomies for periodontal pockets, what we do is like after marking the bleeding points, we give incision below the bleeding point. Okay? That means like at the base only we'll give, then we'll reflect it. When we do the gingivectomy procedure, we'll give an incision above this point because we want that junction to be. Okay? We are just only removing the excess gingiva. We are not like planning for pocket reduction there. Okay? So you forget that concept. Pocket elimination by using gingivectomy. Only gingivectomy will be used only for enlargement cases and crown lengthening procedures. So how you do crown lengthening procedures? Prosthodontist has told you guys like 1 mm crown lengthening they want. How will you decide and how will you plan to do gingivectomy? Dr. Monica has explained you guys again. About biological weight, she has explained you guys. Who will explain? 1 mm चाहिए होगा तो 2 mm What are the prerequisites for this? We do guys demo tomorrow. Okay, how to do gingivectomy. So to reduce the inflammation and functionally adequate zone of attached gingiva that must exist. Apicot to the base of the gingival pocket. Okay. So if your attached gingiva is very less and if you do gingivectomy procedure, that means gone. Okay. So that's why adequate attached gingiva should be there when you are planning for gingivectomy for periodontal pockets. Okay. According to the Glickman, indication for this is eliminate gingival or suprabony pockets, eliminate gingival enlargement, and eliminate suprabony periodontal abscess. Okay. According to one more author, he says that it can be used for gingival pockets also and to create aesthetic, smooth, form and gingival symmetry. This is very important. After orthodontic treatment, so many patients you will get. Okay. What is gingival zenith? Usually that will be altered in orthodontically treated patients. So that patients will come to you means you can aram plan from canine to canine crown lengthening procedure. Correct? Crown lengthening. Smile designing. How it should be? Gingival zenith. Simply cutting the gingiva and sending. How it should be? Where the zenith should be? For central incisor, it should be in the distal. For canine also it should be in the distal. What is the zenith? Highest point, right? Correct? So for central incisor, highest point should be distal. So for canine also highest point should be distal. For lateral incisor, it should be at the center. You are supposed to do like cut the gingiva in that manner only. Then only it looks pleasing. Okay. For onboard will be used for transform gold or blunted margins to get an ideal physiologic form and to correct soft tissue craters and gain additional crown lengthening for restorative, endodontic or prosthetic purposes. Sometimes you do gingivectomies when there is a root caries also. You won't be able to fill it that time without violating a biological limit. If you can achieve a crown lengthening, that you can do it. When you are not supposed to do the gingivectomy procedures. When there is hyperemia or edema of the soft tissue. That's the reason when you are planning any ectomy procedure, first you are supposed to do the scaling thoroughly. Then wait for 7 days, then you go ahead with other procedures, then you get good results. Pocket which extends beyond the mucogingival junction, there also you are not supposed to attempt because attached gingiva is not there. Correct? Then functionally inadequate gingiva, interdental or osseous infrabony craters and defects, there also you can't do it. And thick buccal or lingual edges are extrasources. So yesterday I was telling you might get confused with enlargement of the hard tissues. If you feel it is a soft tissue, then only you can go ahead with treatment for enlargement. If you feel it is a hard tissue, then you are supposed to open a flap, reduce the bony contour, then only you will get a results. Okay, by doing directly gingivectomy or gingivoplasty, this extensor septic buccal bone can't be controlled. In such cases also you are not supposed to do the treatment. Short or shallow palatal wall in such cases also. What is gingivoplasty? Recontouring. Here we are not eliminating any pocket, okay? Just we are recontouring gingival clefts, craters, or shelf-like interdental papilla. How we can do different techniques? What they are using here? Correct? What are the different techniques we can use? Scalpel method. Two types are there, scalpel. Scraping method, just we scrape out the gingiva, then slicing method. We slice the gingiva. Upper layer epithelium will slice it. Then by using round burr, you guys never did? No? While doing some other procedure, you might have like scrape out the tissue, no? That is how you are supposed to do by using round burr. But you should have like very good control over it. Or else if you like engage that corrective tissue means gone case. Scar will take place. Okay? And other chemical methods also you can use 5% formaldehyde, but better not to go ahead with chemical techniques. Even for electrosurgery also it will be used. Yesterday was asking electrosurgery. That is one more radiosurgery, right? No, it is there. It's a form of recent form of electrosurgery. But I never tried. We didn't have that machine in our college. A lack of research is there on that, so no one prefer to use that. Okay. What are the different types of frenal attachment? Yesterday the people were telling high frenal, low frenal. Other than that, you guys should know there are 4 types of attachments will be there. Mucosal, gingival, papillary, penetrating. 4 types. When you plan for frenectomy, what are the different frenal attachments? Where are you can see? Okay, lingual frenum. Then, sorry. Here also I am going to tell no lower lip, labially, okay, upper labially, lower lingually, okay. So when you can plan frenectomy? Okay, tongue tie you will come to know. Slurred speech, a patient won't be able to touch his like tongue with the palate and all. Then denture, very good for denture also. Buccal frenal. Correct. Upper diastema cases. Good. But the thing is, okay, patient has come to you, frenal attachment is there, little bit down. How will you like go ahead with the procedure? Like whether to do the frenectomy or not. In all the frenal attachments you will do. Gingival, mucosal, all the frenal attachments you will do. In all the frenal attachments you will do. Difference is so when will you do? What are the high frenal attachments? 4 attachments I told, right? So when you plan for frenectomy? No? Because उसके जगह पे वो है, वो कुछ नहीं कर रहा papillary penetrating. One is papillary penetrating. Then, if it penetrates through the papilla, what will happen? It will cause the diastema. Correct? One more is papillary. Papillary, how will you decide? Case history. What you guys used to do in case history? Sorry? Correct. Then, tension test. What will you do with that? Correct, like that only you are supposed to do it. Tension test. What will you see there? So that marginal gingiva will move. When you do the tension test, along with that movement of the lip, the marginal gingiva of the central incisor will be moving. If it is moving, that means what? You are supposed to do frenectomy. That means the frenal attachment is hindering the margin of the gingiva. In future, it may cause the gingival recession because of the frenal pull. Okay? In such cases, only the papillary penetrating you are supposed to do. When it is in a papilla, if you feel that tension test is positive, it's pulling the marginal gingiva, then you are supposed to plan it. So lower to you will come to know. So many cases you will get. That's the reason I keep telling you guys, look into the soft tissue. Just you can retract the lip like this. You can see if you feel any high frenal attachment, it is just 2 minutes. Okay, just give an incision, done. You can charge minimum 3,000. It's true. Okay? Patient won't be knowing it. Your work is very less. Just give one incision. Okay, just break the fibers there. Frenotomy. That is called as frenotomy. Okay, just you are releasing the fibers there. Upper means you are supposed to do frenectomy. You are supposed to insert all the fibers. But lower, you are just releasing the fibers. Just tell some assistant to hold the lip, retract the lip, give incision. If you are doing with the blade, it will be very easy. But only thing is, bleeding will be there, you are supposed to arrest for some time. If you are doing by laser, then no need to worry. If you are doing by laser, minimum 5,000 you can charge. Okay? 5 minutes work for clinician. Only thing is, you are supposed to check whether the high frenal attachment is causing recession, because so many will come in the lower anterior recession. Okay? Your eye should go there. Frenal attachment. How is the frenal attachment? How is the tooth is placed, buccally placed, or lingually placed? Okay? If you doesn't do the frenotomy in that cases, what will happen in future? It may cause the recession. Okay? You are supposed to motivate the patient for that. Then what about lingual? What are the different techniques? For lower bit is very easy. By taking the 15 number blade, just give the incision in that area. For upper, how will you do? What are the different techniques? See, this is the lower. You are supposed to give incision horizontally like this. Just here one incision. By doing that, what will happen? You get, it causes the vestibular deepening also. Understood? It increases the attached gingiva here. What are the different techniques what you guys can use for frenectomies? Not her, Z-plasty, ZY-plasty. Sorry? What we commonly use is conventional technique. Okay? This is which type of frenal attachment? Papillary penetrating. It's penetrating in the papillary area. Okay? So, what is this? This is needle holder. Just you are supposed to engage the needle holder at the base of the frenal attachment tightly. Okay? And tell the assistant to lift the needle holder up. You are supposed to give incision 1 down, then needle holder lift a bit down, give incision up. Only 2 incision, your frenectomy done. Okay? Can you see here? Now it is like this, correct? You are supposed to give incision here till you end the tip, till you come to the tip of the instrument. Then you lift the instrument like this up. Same incision will be given in the below the instrument. That whatever this triangular rhomboid shaped tissue will be there, no, that will come along with the needle holder. After this only your tricky part will start. Enough? After if you do like this much is enough. What is your intention there? You are supposed to insert the fibers, right? So you are not insert the fibers. Fibers will be here. Again, it will reattachment will take place. So once you get a robot, you are supposed to check for fibers here by using probe. Okay, just check for the fibers. If you feel fibers will be like this vertically. Okay, if you feel fibers are near here, by taking 15 number blade, you are supposed to scrap it till you feel the bone. Okay, that means you are supposed to trim all the brioche there. Then only reattachment doesn't take place. After this, you are supposed to suture it. From where you start suturing? You are supposed to start suturing from here. If you start from here, what will happen? If you like put little bit tension, then what will happen? Flabby tissue may form here and patient may feel irritation in their limbs. Okay, you should start suturing from here and you should end once you come here. Once you reaches the attached gingiva, you are supposed to leave it like that. Only in this area, better to keep. If you are doing the frenectomy by laser, then no suturing, nothing. No headache. Okay? Can I see here? This is not actually papilla penetrating, it is a papilla. You see this extra tissue, it will come with this instrument. Right? No vertical incision. No incisions will be here, only above the instruments will be. This is one more technique they have done. These are very tricky techniques. That technique is very simple and anyone can perform. Only like you should be good at suturing. Okay? I told you, just holding the instrument tightly to the base of the femoral attachment, give incision above the instrument, give incision below the instrument. Take that out. That's it. What is the beauty of laser? Along with frenectomy, they are doing hysterectomy also. You can see here, little genitis and not there. Ma'am.
क्वेश्चन तो बोले थे ये क्वेश्चन है ये क्वेश्चन है ये क्वेश्चन